Season 23 of the SFL is off and running, and the Houston Headhunters took that phrase personally. Both of their tailbacks, Josh Slapp and Shepard Vakarian last week, both went over 100 yards on the ground. But for Vancouver, they were the ones who got ran over by Carolina in their opener. Will the Legion be able to bounce back here at home, or is it full steam ahead for the Headhunters? Good evening, folks. I'm Tyler Falk. Welcome to Week 2 from Canada Field here in Vancouver, British Columbia. We are glad to have you with us. And I'm glad to be joined in the booth here by Alden Bleeker. Alden, the longevity of these two franchises speak for themselves, and both will be looking for a good result here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a matchup with the weight of history behind it. These teams have a combined 30-plus seasons between them in the league, and both of them looking to book a return to the playoffs. Vancouver have a 3-game winning streak in this series, and they lead the series 5-4. They'll be looking for another consecutive series win after starting on the wrong foot, looking to book that playoff spot, as I said.
10th game of the series in a series which has seen only the home team win, so maybe Lady Luck is on Vancouver's side as the Legion line up in their blue tops, white bottoms in Houston, and their white tops, gold bottoms as here we go. Week 2 of Season 23 is underway. Here comes a good return here from Lili Nakai, and she gets it all the way up to the 28-yard line, and that is where quarterback Christian Brown will take his first snap under center. And last week in the opener versus Carolina, it was, some good, some bad. 10 of 20, 50%. Under 100 yards passing with 2 interceptions and a touchdown. He'll be looking to find out whether or not some home cooking does well for the soul as Mateo Privado, the fullback for Vancouver, gets the first touch of the ball game. He gets maybe a yard as we introduce you to that Legion offense. We already mentioned the quarterback Christian Brown, Suda Nakai, and Ike McBride are the tailbacks, with the aforementioned Mateo Privado at fullback. Brett Killian, Nick Lockett, Kendra Wells, and Lili Nakai are the wideouts, with Stephen McMichaels, Chironoa Privado in there at the tight end, and Privado with a stiff arm gains a whole host of yards, and it's a lot of fullback love to begin the ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's that 3-back system that we see in Vancouver that is such a big deal. Their rushing attack was so big last season. Ike McBride led the league in touches and top 5 in most rushing yards. And their 3-back system combined for a top 10 rushing total with 1,516 yards.
He dances up the sideline, and we, of course, cannot forget to mention that offensive line. Bunter, Grayjam, Mike Coverson, Ryan Caudell, Gregory Winnell, and Leo Chang, all helping to help Ike McBride get her first carry of the game for 4 yards.
Yeah, and that's really the big thing about this passing attack. Like we say, the 3-back system, you don't just have to rely on one back. You can really spread it around and get those fullback runs in that not every team in the SFL incorporates.
Split backfield, Privado in another pitch to the right side, and Privado, already his 3rd carry of the ball game, brings up 3rd and short.
Yeah, and it's a very manageable 3rd and short. I mean, Vancouver really pushing the rushing attack so far, as we've seen in previous seasons.
Heavy look here on 3rd and 1 to go. Privado motion from tight end into the backfield in an offset eye now, but it's a QB sneak, and CB4 Christian Brown will just slide down after picking up the first and a couple more.
Well, how about that? Even if you stop the backs, you just sometimes the quarterback just sneaks up the middle and does a great job to pick up the yardage there.
Adds another wrinkle to this Legion game plan as the run game is taken off. And Privado again, 7 yards for the hefty fullback as we introduce you to the Headhunter defense that'll be trying to stop this rushing attack. Denzel Maverick, Chris Joseph, KT Slayer, and Anthony Stover are the defensive linemen, with Chris Britton III, Garrett Evans, and Jason Peace at linebacker. John Barnhart, Kai Cash are the corners, and another nifty quarterback sneak dices right through the linebackers as Blake Prime, Al Ingram III, and Guy Incognito are the safeties. But this has become a very good opening drive for Vancouver.
Yeah, and that quarterback sneak typically used to pick up short yardage on 3rd down, but they're incorporating it pretty heavily. So far, 2 calls in this first drive.
Pitch play, bravado again, and this time he's wrapped up by Incognito after only a short pickup.
Well, and you can't blame Vancouver for running heavily. You know, not only are they good at it, but last season you saw Blake Prine of Houston leading the league in swats and top 5 in interceptions. So definitely have to respect that Houston secondary.
3 minutes and 20 seconds already taken off of the clock here in the first quarter. Brett Killian, the wide receiver in motion. He gets the arrow route over the middle and picks up another good chunk of yards. First pass of the ball game for Christian Brown is caught.
Well, Christian Brown getting pretty heavily involved in the game. You know, the 2 quarterback sneaks and a really picture-perfect throw sets up a very manageable 3rd down for Vancouver.
Bravado, fullback playing tight end near side, now goes back into the backfield. We saw Christian Brown do a sneak early on the drive like this. He does it again for the 3rd time. It still goes, and Incognito takes him down near the 12-yard line. Oh, this rushing attack for Vancouver is dangerous early on in the ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the pure fearlessness by Christian Brown that I think is so impressive. Not only is he taking these quarterback sneaks, these design quarterback sneaks, but he's not afraid to pick up 5 or 6 yards, even if it means he takes a hit.
Another run here for Bravado, picks up 4 yards. This Vancouver offense only had 93 yards on the ground last week, and they're already closing in on 70 combined with all of these players.
Yeah, clearly they saw something in the film room that, you know, you can attack this Houston with the run game.
Brown to throw for the 2nd time today. Good pocket looking corner. It's tipped, nearly intercepted by Kai Cash. 3rd down.
Well, and that's just what we said. This Houston secondary really likes to lurk. Good job getting hands on it, man. Hit him right in the hands. You really would have loved to come away with an interception there. But this is a lot harder for Vancouver. You know, we've seen 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. 3rd and 6 is the longest 3rd down thus far.
13th play of the drive, 10 rushes, 2 passes, and now it's an empty backfield with a 5 wide receiver set. The most spread look we've seen out of Vancouver to begin the game as Brown looks to throw. 4-man rush, has time, looking middle, caught! End zone, touchdown, Kendra Wells! Vancouver on the board, and unfortunately for Houston, Blake Prime is still on the turf.
Oh, man, and that is such a huge blow for Houston. They're going to want to do anything they can to get him back because, he's walking off the field under his own power. That's a good sign for Houston. But, yeah, just such a big part of the offense. And, man, what an offensive drive for Vancouver, just setting things up with the run game and then the fantastically placed passes by Christian Brown. Only 1 dropped pass that entire drive.
Indeed is a touchdown. Kendra was able to stretch her hands over the line. And the extra point is up and good for chance to win. And Vancouver take an early lead after that 4-minute, 50-second drive. It's 7-0 Legion. So now how does Houston respond to the opening salvo fired by the Legion? We're going to find out shortly as this kickoff goes out of the back of the end zone. And so the quarterback, O.J. Bruin, who comes over from Jacksonville in the offseason, is set to work here in Vancouver. Last week at home, it was a tale of 2 halves. In the first half, Bruin was 5 of 17, 29% completion percentage with an interception. That second half where they got the run game going, 4 of 6, 66% completion percentage, and a touchdown. He plays much better when the running game is going. He'll set to throw here. First pass over the middle finds DR Sim for a gain of 5 as we introduce you to the rest of those headhunters on offense. Josh Slapp and Shepard Farkarian are the tailbacks with DR Sim, Mike St. Green, Israel Adams at wideout. Tiberius Bovine and Randy Pierce and Daisy Peace are the tight ends. On the line, it's Barry Simeon, Kenny Cook, Brennan Ryan, and Sarah Bergans. Second play will be a run left side for Slapp as he tries to cut it back inside but is denied by Emmanuel Blackman, the corner.
Well, and as you mentioned, OJ Bruin really does have some great weapons. I mean, I've played with him as a teammate, and when he has those weapons going for him, he can really go off, and he's certainly going to be looking to carry a significant part of the offense today.
Third and medium. Bruin under pressure, gets rid of it. Caught by Sim again over the middle. Sim with a nice little in route at the 35, turns upfield close to the 38-yard line.
Well, and that's what they're going to be looking to do to deal with OJ Bruin, is to send the pressure pretty much as often as they can. Vancouver love to rush the offense. Bobo Cadill, defensive end for Vancouver, was top 5 in sacks last season with 9, posted 19 tackles, 10 of which were a tackle for loss. So they really love to rush that quarterback.
Pitch play near side for Slap. He gets out of 1, but is quickly cleaned up. After a gain of only 1, it's Woods there on the tackle as we introduce you to that Legion defense. Achilles Papatonis, Bobo Cadill, Gerald Giudice, and Michael Rury are the defensive linemen, with Marquise Reed, DJ Woods, and Josh Farnsey at linebacker. Ron Hoff, Emmanuel Blackman, Zach Lay, and Michael Lister are the corners, with Drew Hamilton and Mark Lopez at safety. Bruin will roll here and fire across his body into double coverage. That ball is batted away. Incomplete. Blackman, Johnny, on the spot.
Yeah, and this Vancouver secondary was all over the target there, and really credit to Vancouver there. Just nothing really opening up in the secondary for OJ, even as he was able to find time in the pocket.
3-2 dime look out of Vancouver as they pile 4 corners on the outside, and here comes one of them on a blitz, but pass, middle, caught! First down on a gain of nearly 16 to Israel Adams.
And that's one of those confidence builder passes that we like to see sometimes. Just up the middle, dissects the double coverage there. It was the double coverage that caused the deflection there previously. But again, he just dices it up the middle there. That's going to be the kind of thing that OJ Bruin hopes to do all game long.
And he can make those clutch passes when he has the time to do so. Tries to foot it over the middle, but he airmails it. Looking for Tiberius Bovine, and Mark Lopez snags the ball out of the air.
Well, as you say, OJ Bruin is one of those guys that when you give him time, he can make great plays, but that is exactly why Vancouver are sending so much pressure. So he doesn't have time to set his feet in the pocket and read the field and look who's going to get open and who's already open. So credit to Vancouver on that drive. Credit to Houston for getting this far down the field. I think this is going to be a very close game.
Pitch play nearly taken away, but fumbled, and Houston recover immediately! Jason P. snags in the loose football, and Houston are back on the forward front.
Wow. And yeah, you're talking about immediately, quite literally the next play. Yeah, very clearly a fumble. No chance for that to be overturned on a challenge. And man, this is a scrappy defensive performance from both sides, from both teams.
Al Ingram was the man who popped the ball free. And now Houston go back to work. Here on Vancouver's 23-yard line. Delayed handoff up the middle for Slap, trying to fight through traffic. Gains 2 yards before Drew Hamilton takes him down.
And that's really the tough thing if you're Houston. You know, this 2-level defense by Vancouver, they've got really great secondary and a really tough brick wall defensive line. So really it's going to be all about finding space for Houston as this game progresses.
Blitz coming, Bruin looking, middle, caught, Adams to the 9-yard line. 1st and goal, Headhunters.
And this is just such a great read by OJ Bruin here. We're going to see this little corner route toward the middle, just nobody around. Perfect read by OJ Bruin, perfect throw and perfect catch. That is just a beautiful play by Houston.
2 tight ends near side. Here for Bruin as he changes up the play as Vancouver stack 8 into the box. Another blitz coming. Bruin, Mike St. Green, touchdown, Headhunters!
the future SFL Hall of Famer Mike St. Green does a fantastic job here. We're going to see again. And again, it's just the routes creating space. That little corner route between the double coverage creates all the space in the world for OJ Bruin, and he just places the ball there. That is a fantastic recovery from Houston off of the back of what looked to be a back-breaking interception.
Extra point is up and good after Mike St. Green's 54th career receiving touchdown. And OJ Bruin already has 5 completions, only had 5 completions in the first half. Last week has 5. He's 5 of 7 here today, and he's got a touchdown to put Houston level again with Vancouver as we are back underway here as Lili Nakai tries to make a decent return, trying to cut through the middle, is finally taken down at the 30-yard line. If you're new to the Simulation Football League, welcome. The SFL is football for everyone. Get off the sideline and start your player today by joining our Discord server at simfl.net. Click the Join the Community button and begin your career, or just to meet the stars of the SFL on and off the field. It's never too late to get involved. So how do Vancouver recover after the fumble just mere moments ago? Ron will look to roll here, has plenty of time, and fires it to Kendra at the 50-yard line. A perfectly placed pass to get down the field in a hurry.
Yeah, precision is the key word there. I mean, this is darn near triple coverage that he's throwing into. I mean, over the head of one back and then into almost double coverage, just short of double coverage. That is a perfectly timed and placed throw. What a thing of beauty.
And so now from the 50-yard line after that 20-yard pass, 5-man rush, Brown looking right side, caught, Nick Lockett tries to streak through one and does, inside the 30, and pushed out of bounds at the 26, 24 more yards for this Legion offense.
Man, and just battling back and forth of these two teams. Lockett does a great job with this route, little stutter step, really no chance for the coverage to get started for Houston, and he finds a little bit of speed to pick up another 5-10 yards there.
Already a much better offensive showing for Vancouver in just a week's time. Maybe a little bit of rust on those uniforms last week in Carolina, but this time, today, week 2, it's a different story. Already knocking on the door as they try and run up the middle here on first down, and Bravado, who had such a good opening to this game, is now maybe slowing down just a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you're really happy if you're Houston to see the adjustment to the running game. I mean, it was just so dominant in that first possession by Vancouver.
Brown flips it near side, looking for McBride, and she cannot go anywhere forward. A gain of about 3 before Chris Britton takes her down.
And it's a good passing catch, but you see there the running back instincts taking over, going for the stiff arm there, and getting taken down.
As we hit the quarter break, it's a tie ball game, 7 apiece between Houston and Vancouver. This is the SFL on YouTube. Welcome back to Canada Field. Tyler Falk and Alden Bleeker here in the booth. A special shout out and thanks to Dwayne Schindler, Israel Adams, and Takeda Yuki. All the stacks struck tonight. Thank you, you three. You've been a tremendous help already as Brown looks to the middle. It's tipped and incomplete. Third down play. They try to target Jason Peace, who has now a fumble recovery in back-to-back weeks. Nearly had an interception.
Yeah, and this is such a better defensive possession by Houston. I mean, Vancouver really able to kind of dictate the pace, and they're going to get a field goal attempt here from a very makeable distance. But this is just such a better showing from Houston on defense.
39-yard attempt to win, missed his first field goal of the season last week, but this time, back home in Canada, he splits the uprights. It's 10-7 now. Vancouver retake the lead.
Yeah, and Vancouver still showing signs of promise, but it's as I predicted going into this game. This is a game that's going to go down to the wire. Both these teams have experience, they have familiarity with each other, and they have two very good sets of coaches. So a game that seems destined to go down to the very last moment.
And here comes DR Sim on the return now for Houston as he tries to go through the middle. Breaks away from a couple tacklers. Trying to hit the corner. He's past the 50. He's got a man in his tail, but he will not be stopped. 100 yards to the barn. Touchdown, Houston Headhunters.
DR Sim firing back immediately for Vancouver. This is how you capitalize on a fantastic defensive possession. Who even needs to put it in your quarterback's hands when you can return it like this? And you see it. You saw it looked like he was going to get taken down, and he made one tackle miss. He made two tackles miss, just turns on the speed and finds the afterburners. A spectacular return by the SFL Hall of Famer.
How about this? First kickoff return touchdown in a couple seasons for DR Sim. In fact, that's his first career kick return touchdown for the #1 all-time wide receiver. How about that in week 2 of season 23?
It really is incredible stuff. I mean, you want to talk about a back and forth contest. This has been, I think, the definition of a tug of war so far.
19 seasons. First kickoff return touchdown. That's going to be a trivia question one day. As here we go, Lili Nakai brings it all the way up to the 30-yard line as now Vancouver in a hole for the first time here at home this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the big thing for Houston is, the home team, as we mentioned in this game, 9 times this matchup has occurred. This is the 10th. The home team has won every single time. So getting that foothold, that strategic foothold for Houston is such a huge deal.
So Vancouver come out in an offset eye here to begin this drive. They will run near side with Ike McBride. McBride gobble up after a couple yards, and oh no, another injury for Houston's defense.
Oh, man.
We saw Blake Prine go out after the first drive, and now Jason Peace, who has been the cornerstone of that linebacking core today, now suffers a similar fate.
Yeah, and much like we saw before, walking off under his own power. So that's a good sign. But, oh, man, the last thing you want when you're, on the road in a tough game is to have the injury bug strike.
Second down. Same exact formation for both squads. Killian goes in motion toward the near side. Takes a defender with him. 4-man rush. Brown flips it near side for McBride, and she's off and running and dives forward to pick up the first down. Had to out-muscle John Barnhart to get it.
Yeah, you want to talk about some power running. I mean, you talk about a spear tackle when after the corner there with the spear tackle as the running back. You don't see that very often.
Well, as they used to say in Carolina, fear the schmear. And that is exactly what she can do now here in Vancouver as she goes in motion now in a wide receiving role to the left-hand side, joins Brett Killian out there. Pitch play here the other way for Mateo Privado, bulldozing his way through Robert Thomas, the backup middle linebacker, for a gain of 5.
Yeah, and Vancouver really trying to incorporate the run more on this drive, as we can see, and doing it successfully so far.
Heavy look, Brown underneath Lout looking for Privado, but no dice. It's Garrett Evans who jars the ball free with his hit. Third down.
Yeah, and the coverage, despite the injuries, the coverage by Houston really has been good this drive, and it puts Vancouver in a tough spot whether they're going to call run or pass here.
Split backfield here for the Legion. 5 yards to go, 5-man rush. Brown rolls, sets and fires, and it's incomplete. Maybe a little bit too far led, and Barnhart knocks it down, and Houston force a punt.
Yeah, absolutely. I was, or maybe even a little overthrown. It was a really good route and a good idea, but just a little plunk off the helmet there.
And the punt is away from to win. It's a good, solid punt that goes inside the 10-yard line. And Israel Adams can only go a few yards up to the 21-yard line before they're stopped. All right, time for a new segment here on the broadcast. I'm calling it Tyler's Trivia. And so if you were paying attention last week or just in general in the SFL, you might be able to answer this question. So this week will be an easy one for the first time out, but let's see how many of you were paying attention to week one. So in week one, which division had all of its teams win or lose by the same margin of points? Which team won or lost by the same margin of points? But Mark Lopez doesn't care about trivia. He cares about picking off football's second pick of the game, and Vancouver's offense retakes the field.
Both of these teams are determined not to give us a second to breathe here, and puts up his, I believe that would be 12th career interception there, and man, that is just a fantastic job eyeballing that one into place.
It is actually Drew Hamilton who picks it off for his 49th career interception, so now both safeties involved in the interception column today. Second pick of the ball game for O.J. Bruin. And now Vancouver on the right side of the 50-yard line as they look to get set to work here. Pass middle, caught, block it 11 yards. First down.
Well, and a really good chance for Vancouver to recover after a drive that just sort of stalled out. And man, the pass there is just perfect. 4 backs around Lockett there, but the right timing and the right placement gets around all of them.
Same number down, first down here for Vancouver as they look to go again. That ball is tipped. Incomplete, looking for Kendra Wells. It was Incognito who came down from his free safety spot to bat that aside.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw there a good job of being all over there just in time to avoid DPI there. I mean, very, very, very aggressive play by Houston on the coverage so far this drive.
Second down here for Vancouver. Brown rolls to his left, fires inside the 10. Kendra Wells is there underneath the coverage at the 9-yard line. First and goal, Legion.
And Kendra Wells has been one of the biggest targets. I mean, Nick Lockett and Kendra Wells, just such reliable targets for Christian Brown in general. But today, they've almost put up 100 yards between them, just over 75 yards.
Starting from just inside the 10-yard line. Pitch play left side, Mateo Pravado bulldozing through one, but finally being cleaned up by Denzel Maverick after a gain of a couple.
And that's really something that we're seeing pretty much from everyone who's running with the ball with Vancouver. I mean, Christian Brown unafraid to take a hit. We saw earlier in this game, Ike McBride just spear tackle a cornerback, just fearless running.
Brown rolls, fires near the end zone, nearly taken away again. John Barnhart, another deflected pass for him. That's his third tonight.
Yeah, man, and this is really a back and forth. I mean, these quarterbacks have such tiny windows to throw into, and it's because of the fact that there are such great secondaries on both sides of the ball.
From the 6-yard line. Six-man rush. Brown looks near side. Caught! Nick Lockett! Touchdown, Vancouver! And the Legion jump back out in front in this seesaw battle.
back and forth and back again, and we see Christian Brown just finds the space, just a little bit of lapse coverage there by Houston for a split second, and it's the mental fortitude by Christian Brown to spot that and put the ball inside the mailbox, so to speak. And this is, as you say, a seesaw battle, a roller coaster.
Lockett is locked in for his 20th career touchdown, first of the new campaign. And that 6-play drive results in a touchdown as Vancouver retake a 3-point lead. And we're off and running again. Can DR Sim again pull off some more heroics? No, he just wisely takes a knee deep in his own end zone, and so OJ Bruin will take the field for the first time in quite some time. We haven't seen OJ since the beginning of this quarter.
Well, and maybe that's a good thing if you're Houston, because that spectacular return by DR Sim, gave him some time to rest his arm and rest his mind.
Currently 5-7 in the ball game. Starts under center here on first down. He'll look to throw. Blitz coming. Pass right side. A twisting, turning receiver. DR Sim cannot haul that one in.
DR Sim trying to be the playmaker for Houston, and it's hard to say that it hasn't worked for him, because it definitely has. That huge kick return, and now trying to make these Superman dives.
4 linebackers squeeze in tight, expecting to run up the middle. Instead, Bruin will look to throw. It's caught. Cutting over the middle is Tiberius Bovine. His first catch of the contest, 6 yards for him. He was the lone recipient of the touchdown last week for the Headhunters.
Well, and OJ Bruin, pressure coming there, had to be a little bit of a check down Charlie, but nothing really wrong with that when you pick up a few yards.
Bruin under pressure. It's thrown, hits the helmets of his lineman. He was under severe pressure from Bobo Caudell, which forced the wayward throw, and Houston will have to punt.
Yeah, big Bobo Caudell. I mean, such a big threat for Vancouver. I mean, they're really good at rushing the ball in general, but Bobo Caudell and, of course, Achilles Papatonis. I mean, there's just so many defensive line threats for Vancouver.
Here comes, a nice hit from Lily Nakai, and she's off and running! Lee Nakai! Put some respect on that name! It's a punt return touchdown!
I mean, you almost have to laugh. This is just an incredibly back and forth game. They see the DR Sim, just a shoulder check that sets up this kick return, this punt return for a touchdown. They say, DR Sim, you're a Hall of Famer. You're one of the greats of all time. You're going to get a touchdown on us. Well, we're going to get a kick return touchdown too. I mean, the parity could not be more even between these two teams.
DR Sim got his first career kickoff return touchdown of his 19-season career. Lily Nakai gets her first SFL touchdown in her 4th season of play. A lot is happening here tonight at Canada Field.
I've got goosebumps. You literally could not write this. If this was a TV show, you could not write this.
How many more fireworks will we see tonight? We've only got 26 plus minutes left to go in regulation. Strap yourselves in. This one ain't over yet.
I got chills. I need to breathe. Oh my goodness.
Houston down by 10. This is the largest deficit of the ball game for either team. And speaking of deficits, all but one of the matchups between these two clubs have been inside of 2 touchdowns or less. 6 of 9 have been within 10 points. We will see more scoring from both these clubs. Bruin looking middle, caught DR Sim, a 9-yard pickup, as he had a cape in the name of Mark Lopez all over him.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, only one game has been by more than a touchdown and some change, and that was a 60-something point blowout in Vancouver's favor. Jack's data has the over-under at 51.5. I think we're going to hit the over.
Slap tries to get one of his better carries of the night and does. Picks up 3 and a first down. We were talking in pregame here, Alden, that these two running backs for Houston, they went over 100 yards, both of them last week. Vakarian hasn't gotten a touch, and Slap only has 7 yards. And this is the first carry for Vakarian. He picks up 4 on his first touch of the game.
Yeah, and the variety of play, OJ Bruin, of course, with the touchdown pass, but it's really been just so varied, the scoring. I mean, Vancouver with 2 touchdown passes and a kick return, Houston with a kick return as well.
Slap to the right side, and now the run game gets going, and that's the best run of the night so far for Josh Slap as he picks up yet another first down.
Yeah, man, almost doubles the running total for Houston there on that play.
6 yards the gain, now has 13. Courtesy of our statisticians, Dwayne Schindler, Israel Adams, and Takeda Yuki. Thank you all for helping us out tonight. Under 5 minutes to go now here in the second quarter. 6 down linemen for Vancouver, expecting a run, and Vakarian trying to sneak through and does, and runs over Mark Lopez for a gain of 7.
Well, and if it's the power running that's working for Vancouver, it's the really crafty, elusive running that we're seeing for Houston that has been on tap. And so the clash of styles, really the back and forth continues between these two sides.
4th straight run on this drive. Vancouver had some trouble running with very speedy backs in Carolina. Now they get a dose of both speed and power as Lopez takes down the ball carrier just a yard short of the line to gain.
Yeah, man, and this is one of those plays that you really feel like is a game changer, manageable 3rd and 1, but it's one of those plays that you look back and you're like, man, this changed the result.
They'll be up close to the line as Marquise Reed. He guessed right, but they get to the outside. Does Josh Slap. Another first down for Houston.
Well, Josh Slap had 11 yards going into this drive, well doubled now, and the running game from Houston really coming alive this drive.
Pitch play here for Vakarian, and Vakarian gets dragged down behind the line. It's a loss of 2.
And that's really what the pressure does. I mean, it's not only the quarterback feeling rushed, but you can very easily rush these tackles for losses, and you really feel that when you're running successfully.
Another run. Reed now on back-to-back tackles, takes down Slap, and Slap is hurt for the 2nd straight week. Slap will exit the ball game.
Oh my goodness, this is just a really unfortunate for Houston. I mean, it's really you got to have that next man up mentality no matter what, and of course, walking off under his own power. So of course, always the chance that he can come back into this game. But oh man, just a bad string of luck with injuries for Houston.
3 total injuries. Blake Prine, middle linebacker Jason Peace, and now tailback Josh Slap, all out for Houston. Bruin under pressure, looks it over the left-hand side. It was nearly caught by Mike St. Green. Zach Lay was there in on the stop, and it's 4th down.
And that looked like it was in DR Sim's hands for a split second, the hit popping the ball loose. And man, yeah, I was going to say this would be a very long field goal attempt, and they're going to punt it.
This one's away by Sonny J, looking for the corner. It's hauled in by Lili Nakai. And she picks up a couple yards after hauling it in, up to the 17-yard line. And that is where Vancouver will set up shop. It's been a fantastic second quarter for the Legion offense as they're set to go to work here with 2:24 left to go in the half. It'll be a stretch play near side for Ike McBride, and she is gobbled up after only a gain of maybe 3.
Yeah, and man, Vancouver, the running game has been less effective than it was in that first quarter. So you really think you're going to try to activate it more this drive?
Pitch play, Matteo Bravado up the right sideline, is tiptoeing up the sideline and picks up a good chunk of yards. That's what we saw to begin the ball game on that first drive, and we see a little bit here before the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just a great job of finding the space, bouncing to the outside. And you see, not even stiff arming, but just using that arm to keep the space and create the space.
2-minute warning, 24-14, our score here from Canada Field. Two minutes left to go in this first half of high-flying electric action here from Canada. Tyler Falk and Alden Bleeker here on the call. Happy to have you along with us. Matteo Bravado again, a big gainer again, inside the 40-yard line and shoved to the turf after getting yardage all the way up to maybe the 36.
Yeah, and again, it's just a pure space play. Uses that arm very creatively to just keep the space between himself and the defender, and so just manages to pick up a bunch of chunk yardage.
It's a lot of fullback love. As an old head in myself, I'm loving Vancouver's mentality here to get the fullback involved. You rarely see that in a lot of other forms of football, but it's good to see it here as another pitch play. Bravado destroys another man. It's Barnhart who gets a licking this time before Al Ingram takes him down, and Vancouver call their first time out. Look at that, 13 carries for a fullback, 89 yards as well, the total there for Matteo, as Vancouver now line up with a 4-wide receiver look. And Brown rolls in the direction of the trips formation, looking left-hand side, looking for Lockett, and airmails that one. Fortunately for Christian Brown, no one was in the area. And so that will bring up this third down from the 33-yard line. Bunch set near side. And blitz coming. Brown looks Lockett underneath. Lockett trying to get out of them, and he does get out of the tackle, but is knocked out of bounds a yard shy of the line to gain. Decision time now for Vancouver. And it does look like the offense is staying on the field for this play. No, they take off Christian Brown at the last second and put on chance to win. A long field goal from the right hash. To win's kick is up, and it is good. 7 plays, 57 yards, total time of 1:25 taken off the clock, and Vancouver's lead is extended to 13 apiece. And it's this running game for Vancouver, which has provided all the momentum late on in this ball game, early on in this ball game as well. It's been Matteo Bravado back close to 90 yards all told throughout the game tonight. And Houston's rushing attack, how potent it was last week, just unable to find anything this week. And it's 1st and 10 on the 20-yard line after Adams takes the knee.
Yeah, and Houston really have a good chance to do something going into the half. 3 timeouts remaining for them. OJ Bruin really going to be looking to do something for his team, and of course that Josh Slapp in that run game.
McCarry in the backfield as Bruin under pressure, trying to get it out to the outside of McCarry, and as he's being hit, and he falls incomplete. It was Achilles Papatonis, the Greek nightmare, who nearly got into the sack.
Yeah, forced OJ Bruin to improvise there. That was almost like a shovel pass or a touch pass there.
Another 8 defenders in the box. You're on 2nd down. Bruin under center will pitch it to Vakarian right side. He shimmies his way through one. is eventually taken down after a short pickup. Third down, it looks like Houston are just going to try and get out of this half by running out the clock.
Yeah, and that's certainly understandable. You know, you really have the halftime break to make those adjustments that you need to make.
Backup tailback Lawrence Nolan checks into the game. Of course, Slap, one of the 3 injured for Houston today, as Bruin looks over the middle. Mike St. Green is there, but he's unable to haul it in, as Mark Lopez is also there and denies him the completion. And so the clock stops at 22 seconds.
Yeah, man, and you almost worry if you're Houston that that's enough time for Vancouver to do something from this field position, especially with 2 timeouts.
Sonny J back to punt this one away for Houston. It's a high, spiraling punt that Nakai will haul in, and she drags defenders with her up to the 45-yard line. 14 seconds, 2 timeouts. You have a 13-point lead here, Alden. What would you do if you're in Andy Hamilton's shoes?
I will fully cop to being more aggressive than a lot of coaches in the SFL, but I think, you know, you've got the home field advantage. I think you gotta go for a couple deep routes, and, you know, maybe it's not the most sportsmanlike thing in the world, but I think you gotta try to put some points on the board, at least a field goal, really put yourself in a dominant position going into the second half.
Houston will get the ball to start the second half as Mateo Pravado gets the call, gains about 8 as Vancouver will rush back to the line. 6 seconds and counting here for Vancouver. 3 seconds, timeout called finally by Vancouver, and they'll have one more shot at trying to maybe put some more points up on the board.
Yeah, either a long route or, well, that's a little too long for a field goal attempt. But certainly you could try to bounce to the outside or go for like a long corner route or something.
They are lined up in quite the heavy look here with 3 seconds to go. And they will just run it with Mateo Pravado picking up the first down. And no matter how quickly they can get stopped, they do stop it. Only 2 seconds off the clock. Final timeout called by Vancouver, and so we will run another play.
Yeah, I think if you could put less than a second on the clock would be at like 0.05 there. That was absolutely split second, last second there.
Final play of the half will be a run for Mateo Pravado. He's been the story of the round game for Vancouver. Picks up a couple more yards as we reach triple zeros here in the first half. It has been Vancouver pulling away from Houston, and it's been on a couple of fantastic plays. A punt return touchdown for Lili Nakai, and on the ground, courtesy of Mateo Pravado. Alden, walk us through that half.
Wow. Well, both of these teams had really stellar points on offense. I mean, 230 yards combined for Vancouver, that rushing attack for 126 yards. And Houston, a little sluggish out of the gate. I mean, really, that kick return by DR Sim was so huge. I think if they can get more time with the ball and continue to be consistent with the rush and the pass, I mean, this is a game that has felt very close, and I think it's going to continue to feel close. If you're Vancouver, you're going to try to push your lead, hold on to the ball, and prevent Houston from coming back. But Christian Brown, player of the half, I very much agree with that.
Well, I think it's time we take a break, just like the players here. And so that's break is courtesy of Breaks GPT.
We just pulled a full-size Taylor Swift helmet. Shout out to all our Swifties. Travis Kelce. This is a Giants Lawrence Taylor.
Patrick Mahomes.
Chad Johnson with the Ocho Cinco.
We have a Drew Brees.
Is that an OJ Simpson jersey?
An Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my goodness.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady.
Welcome back to Canada Field. Break into the world of sports memorabilia collecting with Breaks GPT, featuring signed football jerseys, helmets, photos, and more. Break GPT offers you the shot at winning autographed and authenticated sports memorabilia at a fraction of the price. Join the community of collectors on our Breaks GPT Facebook page and lock in your shot at hitting a humongous headliner on our site, breaksgpt.com. And these are not the news or the breaks that Houston would like to see. Couple of doubtfuls and a questionable there for Houston as we welcome back to Canada Field. And so it looks like Houston will be out some of their stars to try and make a 13-point comeback in this one as we welcome back to Vancouver. And Vancouver, the Legion will kick us off to begin half number 2. DR Sim, another knee, third straight knee after his first career kick return touchdown. And here comes OJ Bruin out take the field. It's been a tale of ups and downs, and it's been much like that for his career, where he has been on point and on target for his career, but it's unfortunate. He's got the opposite number you would have liked for interception touchdowns in his career, nearly double. Over 160 interceptions, and he only added to that total there with a dangerous pass, double coverage, looking for Andy Pierce, the tight end. And we take a look at the story of these two quarterbacks, both roughly the same amount of time in the league, Alden, but Christian Brown's had a much better career than O.J. Bruin has.
Well, and I'll talk about this at the next break and play, but I really feel for O.J. Bruin.
Pass middle again, incomplete. Two intended targets in the area, neither one could haul it in. Third down.
As I was saying, I really feel for O.J. Bruin. He's been my teammate when we both played in Jacksonville, and I don't think I've ever seen someone who is less willing to give up in frustrating situations, and so you really hope that he's going to see that success. He's one of those mentality guys in your locker room.
Bruin destroyed by Gerald Giudicelli, and that's the history books. 20th all-time now for Gerald Giudicelli. Passes Cam Crosby for that mark, and also ties Cam Crosby for 23rd all-time in TFLs.
Man, and that pressure just came through, and this is going to be fantastic. And huge congratulations. But this is not only a record-breaking moment, but also going to be fantastic field possession for Vancouver, just short of the 50.
Lili Nakai gets the return up to the 49-yard line, and so another good starting field position here for Vancouver as they look to try and maybe start salting this one away. They've got a good rushing attack. At least the first half showed us that. We'll see what they can do here to begin the third quarter. A single back look here for Vancouver. Hannah McBride gets stuck behind the line, and that allows Robert Thomas to come up from his middle linebacker spot to take her down. Ultimately, they'll rule no gain on the play as Vancouver set back to work, maybe a half yard behind where they should be. And pass into coverage again, looking for Kendra Wells, and that one is also knocked aside by John Lynch, the safety.
Yeah, and man, Houston really showing some resilience here on defense after that drive that stalled out pretty quickly.
Brown will now look to throw here on third down. Backing, wheeling around, still looking for somebody. Deep shot, caught Brett Killian, who climbed the ladder and waltzes into the end zone. Touchdown, Vancouver.
That is some spectacular. We're going to see it again here on this replay, but man, Brent Killian just does a fantastic job finding the tiniest bit of space. It's a 50-50 ball, and he just goes up and grabs it, finds himself in the perfect position to just trot to the house.
That's going to be our Nice Hands Catch of the Game, brought to you by Retroid. Put a Retroid handheld in your hands and play the only video game with your player in it, SFL 4K 23. Extra point is up and good from chance to win. It's now 20 points that separate Vancouver and Houston. It's 34-14 Legion.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, this has been such an even game, but Vancouver now starting to pull away. And, you can't count Houston out. I certainly will never count OJ Bruin out, as I say, but you gotta start pulling things together and making those micro adjustments if you're Houston.
Kicks away. Here is Houston's return man, DR Sim, looking. Here makes a nice spin move, looking through the middle now, still fighting with defenders, and gets all the way up to the 31-yard line. Meanwhile, also coming up on SFL YouTube, it's Canton Pittsburgh, and that game's reached closing in now on halftime. It's 20-3 in favor of the Canton Classics as the Riverhogs' first game at home is not looking too good. Canton's been able to take control of that game with 197 rush yards in the first half. And so what does Houston do? Down by 20. Do they abandon the run game? No, they delay handoff up to Vakarian, who gets gang tackled by the combo of safeties Hamilton and Lopez after a 4-yard pickup.
Yeah, and it's a really good job finding the space there up the middle. Man, really, both teams have been running toward the side, but neither team has really tried to establish the middle. And so it's going to be something to keep our eyes on to see if Houston tries to do it this drive.
Pitch play, near side to the backup tailback, goes nowhere. That was Lawrence Nolan who got gobbled up at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, man, and again, really trying to establish the middle, but it's crowded again there.
Bruin looking to throw, blitz coming, gets rid of it in time, and Mike St. Green can't haul it in. And for the most part today, Bruin has been on target with his passes. It's just been maybe a little bit of pressure both being forced from this defensive line or linebackers or the corners playing just excellent coverage.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, I don't think OJ Bruin really, besides, you could look at the interceptions arguably, but I don't think he could do much better. I mean, these balls are hitting the receivers in the hands. It's just the coverage by the linebackers and the corners that are really forcing the balls out. I mean, I think OJ Bruin, for the most part, is putting up some pretty good throws.
Lely takes a knee, or a fair catch, I should say, at the 27-yard line, and this is where the Legion offense will take over. 7:40 to go now in the third quarter as they're up by 20. Last drive ended in a mossing of a touchdown by VK12. Let's see what they come up with here on this drive. They start with on the ground with Ike McBride, and she picks up maybe 7 yards.
Yeah, and again, the run game for Vancouver has been such a big part of their performance today. The split has been pretty even. I mean, 40 plus yards each, but 133 rushing yards combined for Vancouver today.
And another QB sneak. It's a gain of 7 from Christian Brown on the quarterback keeper.
I mean, it just makes you smile, doesn't it? The design quarterback sneak by Christian Brown and 30 rushing yards on the day. I mean, really, it's really almost a 4-back system when you've got your quarterback running this well.
Mateo Privado motions to the right of Brett Killian, and now McBride on the call. Only 2 yards for her. She's taken down. Second down.
And that's really the key for Houston, is really getting the pressure into the backfield. Vancouver have had the time to set up, and really I think that's the biggest key. If I had to key onto it, is you got to get the pressure onto Vancouver.
Fullback dive. Gains maybe 2 this time. It's the fullback in a traditional fullback spot. Privado, another gain of 2, but now they need 6, not another 2 yards here on third.
Yeah, and again, when you set up these longer third downs, you really set up a position to dictate things on defense.
Blitz coming. Brown, middle. Killian caught. First down to the 42.
And that's the flip side of when you try to send the pressure, because we saw it there. Houston really trying to get into the backfield there. But again, the coverage not really able to materialize, and a great throw by Christian Brown. I mean, 3 passing touchdowns on the day. He has really done a fantastic job over center, over 150 passing yards as well.
Brown rolling and just dumps it off for Ike McBride, who is shoved aside by Guy Incognito after a 3-yard gain.
Yeah, and Vancouver really marching down the field. More important than the points for Vancouver, I think, are taking time off the clock, dictating the flow of this game.
Brown again will look to throw. Spinning around is Kendra Wells, but she lands into Kai Cash, who that makes mincemeat out of that football. Incomplete, 3rd down.
Yeah, I was going to say, into the arms of Kai Cash there, it almost looked like, and a great job on the coverage there by Houston.
3rd and 7 from the 39-yard line of Houston. Christian Brown will have to guide his offense inside the 32 if they want to continue this drive. Brown fires at the feet of Brett Killian, and now he's usually a tall man, and so I know I've seen him reach down for passes that in flag football, but he's unable to do it that time. And Houston's defense comes up strong for the first time in quite some time and will force this punt.
Yeah, absolutely huge to force a punt and not a field goal. That's I think, the biggest part of it.
And so the punt is away from chance to win. Fair catch called for just outside the 10-yard line by Israel Adams. And that is where Houston will set up shop. Now, I did mention in the second quarter, I asked in week 1, which division had all 3 teams win or lose by the same margin of points? Alden, you have a guess? You got five potential chances.
Central,
no, and it is actually the South Division. 14 points was the difference. Only Louisiana had a negative point differential of 14 last week. Stay tuned for more Tyler's Trivia coming up, and I'm going to try and do that in all my games this season. We'll see how well that goes. As the first pass from center here on the drive for O.J. Bruin will fall incomplete.
Yeah, and man, this is a real opportunity to turn things around for Houston. You know, things haven't really gone your way offensively in this quarter, in this half, and yeah, really an opportunity to flip things around if you have a positive result here.
Another pass falls incomplete, looking for DR Sim. Another pass which again is on target, but these corners and safeties just keep denying him. That's now he hasn't completed a pass since way before in halftime. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight incompletions now for this Houston offense. 3rd down. Rolling Bruin under pressure, launches it, caught DR Sim finally. 25 yards for the first down for DR Sim.
And it almost feels like justice for O.J. Bruin. I mean, as we said, really hard to fault him for a lot of these throws. I mean, you know, the 2 interceptions, you know, you could certainly, I'm sure you can and will study those in the film room. But again, a lot of these passes that are dropped are hitting his receivers in the hand. So he's going to feel, I think, vindicated by that catch there.
Now to the ground game with the carry-in, and he gains 3. Before he's eventually brought down.
Yeah, and really a confidence builder as well. You know, you get that first down conversion when you've really been kind of struggling a little bit on offense. It really sets you up to kind of chain them together.
2 tight ends, 2 backs back there, and the run up the left-hand slide, and that's good to see if you're Houston. That's Josh Slapp back in the ball game. The one man who we thought could have a potential coming back is back.
Yeah, and it could not come at a better time. I don't think it could have possibly come at a minute later if you're Houston.
It's coming. St. Green can't haul it in. Another good pass from Bruin. Another drop by a Houston receiver.
Yeah, and man, it's just nearly picture perfect throws that are being put up by OJ Bruin, but again, it's these cornerbacks that are and linebackers that are just covering the receiver that's being targeted almost perfectly, split second to avoid the DPI.
Lili Nakai gets the return up to the 27-yard line. And how many likes do we have on this video so far? It's not enough, I say. So smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you've got notifications on so you won't miss a minute of SFL and SFLM action, and help the channel grow through your support. Vancouver was able to drive the ball last time down the field, but just outside of field goal range, they were forced to put this one away. We'll see what they can do here on this drive as McBride gets the call, and she tries to, as she's done so often throughout her career, try and run through defenders, but Incognito, who's had a couple seasons to absorb those hits, has gotten the better of her late in this ball game. Under 3 minutes now. It's another QB sneak, and it's something. This wrinkle, another thing you have to prepare for, has just been able to eat Houston's defense alive.
Yeah, and clearly it's something they saw on the film room, but I mean, you really wonder what this hole that they're poking at with the sewing needle, how this was found.
Mateo Privado, 1 yard pickup taken down by Chris Britton III. Now backed up, probably won't see another QB sneak. We'll see what they do here, trying to more milk this clock away as Brown looks to throw with time, looks middle, nearly caught by Stephen McMichaels. That would have been his first catch of the game, but Incognito again swoops in to save the day.
And the mirror pretty much of what we've seen on the other side of the field, where OJ Bruin just lofts up a perfect pass, hits his receiver in the hands, and receiver comes in, bam, hits perfectly. But we saw the opposite there, where it's a perfect pass thrown up by Christian Brown, and bam, guy Incognito comes in.
Spread look now from the Legion offense on 3rd and 9. Houston could really use a stop here. Brown rolling and now unloads near side. Killian again, and he sneaks by Incognito to the 25-yard line. He did it again.
That is just fantastic quarterback receiver play. Sneaks it over the shoulder of Guy Incognito. Oh man, takes a stab at it, but that is just thrown perfectly to Brett Killian, and he does a fantastic job to go up and get it. Man, and look at the disparity in yards between Vancouver and Houston. They have done such a fantastic job, not only passing, but almost 200 rushing yards, and Christian Brown is a significant contributor to that as well.
Run, Privado, right side, stiff arm, up the sideline to the 11-yard line, and it's just plays like that that have helped them break away from the competition today, and so I'm giving Privado our breakaway play of the game for just these incredible fullback runs, as that's our breakaway play of the game, brought to you by Breaks GPT, sports memorabilia, breakers, and collectors. You never know whose autographed helmet or jersey you might hit. Check them out at breaksgpt.com. Under a minute and a half to go now in the third quarter. Handoff Privado up the middle, runs through defenders, and Incognito. He's pretty strong for a very lanky and shorter safety. 6'1", 215 pounds, is taking on the likes of Privado at 260.
Man, yeah, and that's really scary, seeing that coming bearing down on you like that.
2nd and goal from just outside the 4-yard line. Handoff again. McBride trying to push the pile. Instead is shoved down herself. Robert Thomas.
Yeah, chippy little tackle there. Just a little shoulder shiver there.
Now it's 3rd and goal. Single back look out of the Legion. They try and run for it. They try to give it to Nakai, but Suda Nakai can't get there. It's Thomas again, filling in for Jason Peace. And so Vancouver will settle for a field goal.
Yeah, so huge for Houston. Still down by a ton, but man, that is just so huge to hold them to 3. I mean, you give yourself a chance. It's an outside chance, but you still give yourself a chance.
And the kick as time expires in the quarter is up and good from Twin. He's been a perfect 3 of 3 here in the ball game. That'll bring this quarter to a close. 37-14, the Legion looking to take the win here at home for their home opener. As we step aside for station identification here on the SFL YouTube.
The Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
As we welcome back to Canada Field here in Vancouver, British Columbia. I'm Tyler Falk alongside Alden Bleeker. A special shout out to Dwayne Schindler, Israel Adams, and Takeda Yuki in the stats truck, keeping us up to date and well informed today. Like stats like this. Bravado is now at a career high here in this new era of the SFL, 121 rushing yards.
I mean, how often do you see a huge fullback being used as a, halfback 1 position? First of all, but man, over 100 yards, that is just a spectacular rushing performance, and it's been such a huge part of Vancouver's success today.
So now it's hammer time here for OJ Bruin. The Headhunters down by 23. Josh Slapp coming back after injury. He's taken down by Josh Farnsey after a short pickup. And unfortunately for Slapp, who's happy to be back in the ball game, unfortunately, if Houston wants to come back in this game, we might see less of him.
Yeah, I really need the passing game to come into effect for Houston.
Pass into coverage, taken away by Farnsey. He takes it back to the 25, and unfortunately for Bruin, that's his 3rd interception today.
Heartbreaker for Houston. My goodness, this is the kind of pass that you sometimes see work in the SFL. I mean, quarterbacks are really, and OJ Bruin is one of them, really able to find the space between double coverage, but just throws it the tiniest bit short, and it hits the coverage right in the hands.
For most of the time today, Bruin's been on target. Unfortunately, he was off target there for his 167th career interception. And now here comes Bravado, another stiff arm and dragging a defender with him for a gain of 5.
Yeah, and fantastic field position for Vancouver. I mean, of course, running the score up is not exactly sportsmanlike, but in a position like this, I feel like it's pretty straightforward. Just keep running the ball to run time off the clock. And, with how successful this running game has been, you're most likely going to put some points up.
Brown finds Bravado on a halfback go route. It's a fullback go route for him. Gets it inside the 5. 1st and goal. Legion already the highest scoring team this season, looking to add more points to the board.
Yeah, and it's really remarkable because, as we said, that loss last week for Vancouver, they only put up, 7 points? They only put up 7 points in that loss against Carolina. So just a real turnaround. A film room miracle for Vancouver here.
Split backfield at the 6-yard line. Ike McBride shuffled out of the backfield. Pitch is fumbled, and it's taken up! Oh, Houston jumping a loose football, and they get a little bit of momentum back their way. It's John Barnhart who scoops up the failed pitch to Bravado.
Oh, and they're going to challenge that this was a forward pass.
Oh no, I can't look. Let's take a retroactive look at the play presented by Retroid. Get your SFL console at GoRetroid.com. This clearly, I think, is backwards. But then again, let's take a second look at it. No, we won't.
We're
we'll
not
just
even
come
going to
right
get an
back
angle
out
on this. Yeah.
It stands as called, and
Wow.
even the refs were like, "No, this is backwards. What are you doing?"
that is some brutal. That is a brutal challenge by Vancouver. That would be, oh my goodness, a real heartbreaker if that had gone off. And as much as there's a disparity in yardage, I mean, you see it there. Houston have put up yards on the board this half, just not been able to convert them into points.
When the refs only take a second to look at the screen and then come out and tell you your challenge is wrong, I think that's got to be that's some sort of joke or meme coming up.
It's like one of those moments where the refs just look at each other and it's like, come on, we got to go over for propriety's sake, but like, come on.
2nd and 5 after the 5-yard pickup on first down. 8 minutes to go. Bruin will have to throw again. Throws in another interception. Standing right in the passing lane was DJ Woods. Didn't even have to move a muscle.
Well, we saw that one of the statistics that you saw on screen there, that five turnovers in that game in this game so far. Now 6 turnovers in this game, and that's the story as much as anything else. You know, not only are there turnovers, but it's turnovers that are converting into points for one side and not the other. Vancouver have really set themselves up in really good field position and convert on these points, and Houston have struggled to convert field position and turnovers into points. And you know, it's just one of those things where you kind of throw up your hands and you're like, well, we got to fix this in the film room next week, you know.
I think that's what Houston are going to have to do at this point, because right now they've literally thrown the game away. Unless they can make a stand here, as McBride gets the call, left-hand side, shoves a man into the shadow realm and gets inside the 10-yard line.
And it could, you know, we saw last time out for Houston, they got a really big stop inside the shadow of their own goal line. So if they could do it again, I mean, again, the chances of a comeback are waning by the moment, but if you get a stop here, you give yourself a chance.
Pitch play, bravado, first down and more to the 2-yard line. 1st and goal, Legion. You just see it on the faces of Bruin, Bovine, and the rest of the offense for Houston that they're looking dejected. It's not gone their way in this second half.
Mm-mm. Man, and again, it's just one of those things where you're like, you don't really understand what went wrong as a team, because they're putting up yards. It's just not converting into points.
Quarterback sneak looking for the 10 zone is Christian Brown, but a little bit of a wag of the finger there as the linemen are able to shove him backward.
Yeah, and they said not this time, just sending the pressure up the middle and forcing him back behind the line there.
Another run. No, it's a play action. Brown gets away from the pressure, now rolling and running, and Brown is into the end zone on a quarterback rollout touchdown.
Looking like my Road to Glory player under center there. You know, you see that he rolls out as the play is designed, and he's like, nobody's around me, seriously, and just turns on the jets there, gets it into the end zone, and just a great job of exploiting the coverage downfield there.
Vancouver took the game against Carolina last week personally, as Brown and this Vancouver offense were under 150 total yards in the game versus Carolina, and now they've put up over 400 total offensive yards against Houston, who just barely have under 140 combined yards.
Well, and it's a statistic. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, and less than 40 yards in this second half.
Well, and it's a statistic that I put down on my notes. Vancouver have a uninterrupted 8-season streak of playoff appearances, straight up playoff appearances, no wild card or anything like that. While Houston are are coming off of a playoff season, and so Vancouver really looking more like we've typically expected them to look here tonight. They're in that playoff race form, and you see it there. I mean, Vancouver have almost quadrupled the total of Houston's yards, and most of those yards for Houston coming in the second half.
Mike St. Green spun on like a top as the ball got to him. Incomplete on first down. 6 down linemen here for Vancouver on second down. Bruin, quick hitter, middle. Bovine is there. 11-yard pickup, first down. No hurry up at the moment.
And Christian Bacigalupi in the YouTube chat brings up an interesting point that this game makes Carolina look even better. And I think to a point that's true, because, you know, Vancouver have been absolutely explosive today, and it does make Carolina look even more like a threat, that not only were they able to, you know, put up enough points on them to win, but that they were able to hold this same offense back so well.
Pitch play for Slap, and Blackman takes him down after only a gain of 1. And the other thing is, too, is now these teams have tape on each other after a week of play. And so how much of it, Alden, do you think is game planning by this Vancouver just coaching staff, which has really nullified, you know, what was a very explosive rushing attack from a week ago for Houston? Pass play right side, Israel Adams caught, first down near the 45-yard line. That's a better pass from O.J. Bruin we've seen in quite some time.
Absolutely. Does a great job dissecting the coverage there, that little wheel route getting around there. But I really do think, like I said, you know, I called it a film room miracle. I really do think that's true, that they saw something, because they threw in that design quarterback sneak, really sending the pressure with the safeties and the linebackers and the cornerbacks, really nullifying is the word you used. And I think that's accurate of O.J. Bruin, what is otherwise a quite good performance. And we're seeing it here, stringing together these throws.
DR Sim, a nice hitter over the middle, gains first down yardage and more past the 50-yard line, just outside the 40. Bruin now looked to throw, 5-man rush, pass near side, caught by Tavares Bovine. He gets shoved out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage, but as he was heading backwards and not turning upfield, he gains 3.
Yeah, man. And Houston, I mean, this is a pride thing for Houston at this point, really looking to take something away, not only in terms of pride, but as well, as you say, of as much film as you can get, not only on the other team, but of how your offense and defense are operating. I think that's also valuable.
Another hitter over the middle for Tiberius Bovine, which picks up another first down. Another blitz for Vancouver, passing to double coverage, incomplete. Looking for Adams again. And back to Guy Clausen's point, Houston faced Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh's SFL debut and won 27-13 in Houston. That game was played live at the convention in League City, Texas, just outside of Houston on Saturday. Now looking on second down, O.J. Bruin, maybe trying to get back to being at the convention, as down he goes! Loss of 5, a monster hit from Bobo Cadill. It's a 5-yard loss, another sack for this Vancouver defense. Pass down near side, bobbled up in the air by Mike St. Green. And MSG, after the touchdown, has dropped every single other pass thrown his way.
Yeah, and that's really one of the big things that we keyed in on, is the ability to rush, and specifically Bobo Cadill was top 5, third in the league with sacks last season, and had 10 tackles for loss on 19 tackles. And so, you know, it's really been a characteristic, I would say, performance from Vancouver, and Houston looking to pull off what would be, I think, one of the biggest miracles in SFL history here.
Mike St. Green, 1 catch, the touchdown for 9 yards, 7 targets, 6 incomplete passes his way. Nice kick by Sonny J. He'll look to try and get the onside one here. Alden, and going upfield on the numbers. Clark inside the 10, dropped at the 7-yard line. Vancouver not done scoring just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we already saw 2 kicks returned for touchdowns this game. One on, and honestly, it would be the football equivalent of hitting for the cycle in a weird way, because one of them was on a kickoff. That was the one that was returned by DR Sim. The one that was returned by Lili Nakai was a punt, and that would have been a touchdown returned on an onside kick. So the cycle of return touchdowns, I suppose. Pick six would be the completion of the cycle.
Well, how about this for Bravado? A touchdown for him would really add to his career day. Gains 6.5 yards, brings up 2nd and goal. Meanwhile, in Yinzerland, a.k.a. Pittsburgh, Eric Price hits Connor Weston for a touchdown. That game now 34-10 at the end of 3 quarters. Pittsburgh showing a little bit of signs of life as they adjust to life in the pros rather than just the minors. 2nd and goal with under 3:40 to go here in this one. Vancouver trying to tie a bow on this one with yet another touchdown. A touchdown here for the fullback Bravado would just about do it. Instead, they go for Ike McBride, and she dives her way into the end zone. Touchdown, Vancouver, her first touchdown as a member of the Legion.
Well, it's just been such a complete performance by Vancouver today. The running game was on point. The passing game was on point. They had interceptions. They had defensive rushes. I mean, you know, of course you're going to try to diagnose what went wrong if you're Houston, but I think you're going to look at it ultimately and say, man, just Vancouver really had our number. Whether it was something they saw in the field, in the film room, whether it was that home cooking, whether it was just their performance on the field, whether it was a combination, Vancouver have really dominated. 21 minutes of possession compared to Houston's 8, 430 yards compared to their 182. This has been a truly complete performance by Vancouver in every aspect.
It's a 50-burger here at Canada Field, and there's almost no chance for Houston to come back. It would take a miracle, be a miracle of all miracles for Houston if they can do so. It starts here. Bruin, near side, caught Bovine on a nice, neat little corner route to the 37-yard line. Just over 3 minutes to go here in the ball game. Blitz coming. Bruin right side this time, caught by Adams to the 49-yard line. Back-to-back completions now for OJ Bruin. He is now 14 of 30, just under 50%. Bruin again looking right-hand side. It hits Adams in the shoulder pad and falls incomplete. That'll bring up 2nd down from the logo.
Yeah, and this is the thing for Houston, really. If you even have a chance, which mathematically, but you really got to string these plays together is the key.
And I'll say it's not over until the whistle blows. So Bruin will keep playing. It looks for DR Sim and almost taken away on a optimistic Michael Lister. Fortunately for Bruin and for the Headhunters, the ball falls incomplete.
But it hits the receiver in the hands again. I mean, it's so tough when you're a quarterback to just see the ball bounce off your receiver's hands.
3rd and 10 now. Bovine in motion to the top of your picture. Under 3 to go as Bruin will roll right-hand side. Fires again. It's caught by Adams at the 33. And the drive continues. Blitz coming from up the middle. Bruin looks outside. It is incomplete. Hits the hands of Tiberius Bovine. Again falls incomplete. I'm almost going to say about 80 to 90% of the passes that Bruin has thrown should have
been completions.
They should have been completions. Just unable to do so.
I know Stickum is probably illegal in the SFL, but like Houston maybe should look in the budget to see if there's room for some Stickum. I mean, anything to help OJ Bruin out at this point, because he has done all he can do to try and keep him in this game. The 2 last interceptions is him trying to force a pass, but he's keeping this game going again. Another pass over the middle, another completion, another 1st down. Bruin looking near side, and that one is just a poor pass, or just better reading of the play there from DJ Woods, or Marquise Reed, excuse me.
2:25 to go. Here in this one, 3 down linemen here for Vancouver, but they send a blitz, and Bruin looks right-hand side. Caught Adams. Adams gets in to the end zone. Touchdown, Houston. And he gets a reward for doing stats today by getting a touchdown on his score sheet.
And you know, it really at the end of the day, I mean, you know, as we say, playing for pride is not something that's off the table, even in games where you're losing big. I mean, you know, you never want to be on the wrong side of a blowout, but even when you're in the middle of a blowout, you can always try your best. I mean, that's something that's gonna certainly get on the good side of your coaches, and something that can be keyed in on in the film room. As we say, you know, the more footage you have of your team and other teams, the more that your coaches can do for you.
Well, that breaks a cold streak there for Israel Adams. First touchdown for Adams since October 14th, 2023. That was in season 21 when he was still in Portland. When Portland was still an SFL franchise against Fort Worth. So Adams gets a touchdown. It was an illegal onside kick for Houston, and so they'll do it again with 2:21 to go in the ball game. This one a much better one. Clark again takes it in, and this time, instead of streaking down the field to the 7-yard line, he is denied for progress up to the 33-yard line, and Vancouver will take over with just over 2 to go, and we should see a whole lot of running, and hopefully for Houston, they're able to stop some runs, because that's another key aspect of Vancouver today, is they've been able to run all over. They've been able to run roughshod over this headhunter defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that's more of a long-term health indicator for Houston, is that, you know, not only does Vancouver have a great run offense, but there's so many. I mean, I would say my team, Baltimore, has a great run offense. So you really got to be able to stand up to teams that have these 2-back, 3-back systems.
McBride, 4 yards, and that will take us to the 2-minute warning here shortly. Let's start talking future for these clubs. Again, it's early in the season, lots to learn, lots to change, lots to fix for both these clubs. It's definitely not it looks like a very polished project over in Vancouver at the moment. After 2 weeks of playing for Houston, it's maybe a little bit back to the drawing board, as we'd say, but still plenty to play for, still playoff spots we can start looking through. It's very early in the season. Keep your heads up high, and still lots to play for here in the SFL.
And I think two things that are good if you're Houston. Number one, next week's a bye week, so you can take the sting of this week and kind of take some time to proverbially lick your wounds and, you know, progress, hit the gym, and come up with a game plan for when they take on Denver in week 4. But also, I think a big thing that's helpful if you're Houston is their schedule is sort of backloaded with divisional games. They've got Fort Worth on week 8, but also, you know, they have a string of 3 in weeks 12, 14, and 15. But besides that, it's really games that are less important to the division, and so you've got time to tune up, to fix the mistakes, the things that went wrong tonight, and hope that you can pick up some points, pick up some wins. And you know, last season was a straight playoff run for Houston after 2 seasons going in through the wild card round. And so I think if you're Houston, the main thing is to not take this loss as like the be-all, end-all of your season, to recover, to rethink. And if you're Vancouver, I think you take this as a fantastic win that it was, and you go into Canton and you're like, take advantage of it and continue to build on it. And I think this is a fantastic recovery for Vancouver after that loss that really stung for them in week 1.
This will be the 8th time in Vancouver franchise history in which they have scored more than 50 points. Ike McBride gets the game-sealing first down to around the 6-yard line, and the party can begin here at Canada Field, as time will be left to run, and some knees will be taken, and Vancouver will move to 1-1. Houston will move to 1-1 after Vancouver will win 51-24. And for the Legion, next week they get a chance to play Canton. They get a chance to show Canton who's boss. Canton now looking like they're also going to be 1-1 after a loss to Baltimore in overtime via the way of a kick return touchdown to begin overtime. And so they'll be in Canton with the Legion, and so we'll see what happens there. After that, they'll be on a bye before taking on Louisiana in week 5. If you're Houston, well, you get a chance to have a double week, to have 2 weeks to game plan for your next opponent. You're going to be playing Denver back in H-Town on August 3rd at 9:15 p.m. Eastern. And hopefully that'll be a chance for Houston to do a much better showing because they know they're better than this. We know they're better than this. Bruin has shown for the most part today, he is a good quarterback.
Yeah,
it's just been unfortunate for him.
And those two interceptions or 3 interceptions, I've lost count, could have happened to any quarterback. I mean, the story that if you're OJ Bruin and if you're this Houston offense, you're going to look at how many times did he hit his receiver in the hands, and it was either the secondary between the linebackers and the safeties and the corners came up and hit someone, or just hit them in the hands and it was dropped. So I think if you're Houston, you have a really good chance to recover with this bye week.
It is final. 51-24 Vancouver over Houston. Alden Blake, your final thoughts on today's game.
Well, this game was very even until it wasn't. You see the yardage just about doubled by Vancouver on top of Houston there. The kick returns that we saw in this game were really something special, man, and the passing and the running game were just really complete by Vancouver. 456 yards total, 224 passing yards by Christian Brown, and quite a rushing performance that we typically don't see. Quarterback rating of 125. I think if I have to name my MVP for this game, it's probably Christian Brown, although Mateo Privado with a career high rushing total, I think certainly is a contender as well. 20 yards per rush for Mateo Privado on 160 yards.
Well, that's going to do it for us. Special thanks to Takeda Yuki, Israel Adams, and Dwayne Schindler on stats, and also our commissioner and producer, Cameron Irvine, back at SFL headquarters, keeping it all look nice and fancy for all of you. For my partner, Alden Bleeker, I've been Tyler Falk. We hope to see you for more SFL action later tonight and later this weekend, and of course, throughout the rest of the season. Until next time, good morning, good afternoon, and good night.